You know, you can tell Turning Red is right for a prequel because you would also, you know, we already, since the original film picks up with Malin near the end of middle school, so that's why I thought it would be nice to see where Malin and her friends were at the beginning of middle school. And, you know, with an origin story about how we met, we get to know more about each of the main characters and their personal goals and motivations, which is also why Monsters University worked very well as a prequel for the origins of Mike Wazowski's friendship with James P. Sullivan when they started out as enemies in the 4th grade, who were still fighting in college and then learned to become friends when they faced a mutual tough situation to overcome. And we also learn about the origins of Mike Wazowski and James P. Sullivan's shared rivalry against Randall Boggs. We know more about each main character's motivations and how they became the top scare team that they are today. I mean, the top scare team that became the top jokester team we know today in Monsters at Work. So, if Turning Red had a prequel like that, which started with Malin meeting her friends Abby, Miriam, Priya, and Stacy at summer camp, and then ended in January after the turn of the millennium. You know, since this is 1999 to 2000, that's 2 school years before spring of 2002 when the original film takes place. Yeah, Turning Red prequel at the beginning of middle school would be a more emotionally deep story than the original film. It's more well thought out. I wish you would know it's better the second time around than the first time around. And, you know, having already written a film with the same characters, prequel not too distant past is how she would take herself to help us get more emotionally attached to the Turning Red characters when we know more about each of our main Turning Red characters when they meet each other for the first time in summer camp and help each other through their first year in middle school and the Y2K apocalypse, that the alleged Y2K apocalypse that some of them fear is going to happen. So, yeah. The Turning Red prequel would probably be the third full-length movie on Domi Shi's resume if she isn't making a second film right now that is not related to Turning Red. I mean, it would be a third film if Domi Shi is making a second film right now that is not related to Turning Red and another visual property and so many characters and settings. And yeah, if Domi Shi made a Turning Red prequel where we learn about the original film's main characters' goals, personal goals, and motivations at the beginning of middle school. And it's more emotionally deep and well thought out than how she wrote her first movie, which already had 8 different drafts to begin, all different stories. Then yeah, a Turning Red prequel would definitely be far more worthy of the movie theaters and not streaming services. Turning Red prequel that's more emotionally deep than the original film would definitely be more worthy of the movie theaters than the original Turning Red movie was. I mean, I also wish the original Turning Red film was shown in the movie theaters too, but just appearing on the Disney Plus streaming service next to Luca and Monsters at Work it still totally beats getting canned entirely like Warner Bros. Discovery and HBO Max unfairly did with Batgirl, Scoob Holiday Haunt, and Scooby-Doo and Crypto 2. So, Domi Shi and her Turning Red crew should really count their blessings and be glad that Turning Red wasn't unfairly written off, at least. If you don't like the live-action remake of The Little Mermaid, then Luca is a much better film like that you can already watch on Disney Plus, where you can hear Jacob Tremblay's voice. You know, Jacob Tremblay being the voice of live-action Flounder in The Little Mermaid, and to Luca Paguro in Luca.
You coming?
Nope, I can't do it. Never in a million years.
Hey. I know your problem. You got a Bruno in your head.
A Bruno.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Bruno, no. We don't talk about Bruno.
In the same way that Turning Red is a much better alternative to Cuties' plot of the main character torn between a family subculture and their new country's larger culture, and Monsters at Work is a much better alternative to Velma, where Mindy Kaling plays Val Little, a monster who, unlike Velma Dinkley, is actually very good at being funny and scary and truer to what we know and love about the character Velma.
I'll get some games. We could play Pin the Tail on a Yak, or Name That Yak, or Yakopoly!
Yakopoly? I love games too.
Okay, we gotta get back. Let's go.
Let's stay.
No, what? Stay? What?
It's nice to know that in all three of those cases, when Netflix and Cuties, Walt Disney Studios live-action remakes had The Little Mermaid, and HBO Max had Velma, Pixar was there for us to give the same audience for which those bad properties were aiming a much better alternative that had the same idea with that had a very similar idea with a much better execution to it. If you really want to see your favorite classic animated Disney fairy tale characters get new content in the 21st century that aren't the shallow, bland, lazy, lifeless, effortless live-action remakes, well, I've already told you several times that Descendants will be much better than any of them, most of them. Most of the live-action remakes that won't age well when they're only for the niche modern audience that just likes the classic animated stuff. But Descendants isn't the only better option. Jake and the Neverland Pirates, Sophia the First, Elena of Avalor to an extent. I mean, Sophia Carson and Whoopi Goldberg were both voice actors in it. Or The Lion Guard are much better Disney Junior television series featuring the same characters from your favorite classic animated Disney fairy tale films that are likely to be looked back upon more fondly than any of the live-action remakes of the same stuff, with none of the fun, whimsical energy we liked from the animated Disney content with the same characters. But I still think Descendants deserves another special mention now because the live-action Snow White got a lot of backlash from making Snow White not Snow White anymore. And while Descendants is also going to see how good with the live-action Little Mermaid and Snow White have done by changing the skin colors of some characters who were originally white, Descendants at least had the sense to keep Snow White and not make her a different skin color that isn't Snow White. Instead of Cruella, watch 101 Dalmatian Street.
101 Dalmatian Street.
This is a dog's world. Hey, there's a whole lot of love to give.
Thank you for watching this video, and like or leave a comment if you agree with me that Turning Red could definitely use a new and improved, emotionally deeper prequel for the movie theaters in 3 years or less from now.